Welcome to the fish tank.
Hey everybody, Fishman here. This week's video is going to be a little bit different than the norm. In the last little while, or quite a while I guess I should say, I've been doing more serious builds, and some of those are still ongoing, and I'm still collecting stuff for them for future videos. So I thought I'd take a break from all that and do a little project purely for fun. Definitely don't take this too seriously. A few weeks ago, I was working on gravel vacuums, and the larger diameter one, the one I use when I don't want to suck up snails or shrimp or anything, I just want to get the mulm off the bottom of the aquarium, it kind of reminded me of those pool filters. And you know, the ones that sit on the bottom of a pool, they have a motor, it kind of makes them shimmy about a bit, and that causes them to move around, and they have a water pump that sucks up the bits of dirt, and then they filter that out, and so on and so forth. They end up cleaning the bottom of the pool. Well, I was thinking that I could make one that, a gravel vacuum, that would sit on the bottom of the aquarium. It would be held off slightly off the bottom, and it would do something similar. It would remove the mulm and leave the snails and shrimp and that sort of stuff there. And obviously I'm not going to make one, at least initially, that's going to shimmy about. Mostly because I think it would freak the fish out having a little oscillating motor in there to get it to move around. And also because very rarely do I have, even in a bare bottom tank, is it completely unobstructed. Now usually there's fish hides or planters or something along those lines, and it's just not practical to make one to move around. And also I only had a couple of spare hours one afternoon, so I wanted to put together something that I could do rather quickly, and at least would give me a proof of concept that if I find any extra time later on, that it might be worthwhile to pursue. But I didn't want to, get too tied down to this. I wanted to do this for fun, and I wanted it to be kind of a one-of. The other reason for doing this particular project is this piece of Delrin. It's been sitting in my shop forever. And it is an offcut from where I buy all my plastics. And the funny thing about it is, no one at the shop had been working there long enough to remember when this thing had shown up initially. So I got it for next to nothing. And Delrin, as I told you before, is an absolute dream to machine. Actually, this clip here is a demonstration of that. This is in real time, and I'm machining off 0.5 centimeter all in one go. And there's no chattering, there's no marks on the material at all. It's nice and smooth, it comes off perfectly. And like I said, it's just great. And this is going to be a bushing that's going to interact with the piece I've already made. This is the same size diameter hole, and you can see it fits nice and snugly. That's the first step. I'm also going to machine the end down a bit so it'll fit over another fitting. And then the wider diameter you see, the third step there, is going to cover up the holes that the arbor has, the 4 holes that I have to drill into the acrylic to attach it to the arbor. And then the back end here is I'm just going to smooth this out so it's nice and round, get rid of all that yellowing. I think that's mostly just old tape, because I don't think Delrin actually even yellows no matter how old the stuff is. And I'm just going to smooth it up so it looks really nice. And then what I'm going to do is drill a hole through the center of it, and then after all the attachments, it's going to, at this point, sit really flat on the bottom of the aquarium. And because I've done this all on the lathe, the acrylic housing that goes around this, the gravel vacuum part, is going to be ever so slightly off the bottom of the tank. So this is all going to become apparent in the next clip, because I need to make final adjustments to this. Like I said, once this is done being machined here, it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be all nice and smooth and clean and everything. But I need to adjust it so that when it fits through that hole, it's going to, like I said, going to be ever so slightly off the bottom. Now, because I've never built one of these before, and I have no idea how much water flow or anything else that's going to go through this is all just going to be a guess. But again, because all this stuff can be put back on the lathe and adjusted, in future, if I decide I actually want to be serious about making one of these things, I can go back and again adjust it and do different things to it and try and get it to work if like I said, if that becomes something that I want to do. So here I've had to put it back on the lathe, and I made a slightly another slight adjustment to it. I wanted to make sure that there was enough of a gap that I can take this now off of the arbor, and any small adjustments I need to make to the gap between the bottom of the tank and the lip of the acrylic gravel vacuum part, I can do by adjusting just the arbor part, the Delrin. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to peel off the last bit of the protective coating, the blue stuff, and it's all nice and finished and ready to go. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to test fit it. That first little narrow bit is for where it attaches onto the PVC fitting, and now I just need to do the snug fit for putting the two pieces together. And apparently I didn't quite get it right, so I had to shave another, believe it or not, only 1/1000th of an inch off, and now it fits nice and snug on there. So notice when it sits on the piece of plywood here, there is not quite an 1/8 of an inch gap all the way around. You can just see a little bit here. I'm going to try a clip horizontally here, but it really doesn't show up well. It's I think I got way too close, but you can see there's just a nice narrow gap there, and that should be more than enough because there really isn't a lot of water flow through one of these. So what I need to do now, because the bottom of this is completely flat, right? So there's no way water is going to get through that hole. I need to mill out a section so that the water can flow into that hole. So what I'm going to do here is I just put this is the largest end mill I have, and I'm just going to put a cross pattern on the bottom of this to give the water somewhere to go. So I've done that, and now we're all set to put this together and finally get in the aquarium. So there you go, that's where the water's going to flow. It's going to flow from the bottom of the tank up through that hole, and then it's going to go through the attachment and then through the hose and then into a bucket or whatever. So that's where the PVC fitting fits in, and then there's a screw-on fitting, and the hose is going to go onto that. And there it is, all set and ready to go. So all you know is put it in the fish tank. And usually at this part of the build, I pretty much know what's going to happen. But in this particular case, I don't. Even though, I mean, this is pretty much just a gravel vacuum with a few tweaks. But every time you try something different, it does affect the outcome. And in this particular case, I found that the flow restriction by, I think mostly the small diameter hose that I used, was sufficient that it just didn't work right at normal suction levels. I had to move the hose all the way down to the floor level to get enough head of water, to get enough flow through this, to get it to suck up the mulm. And I left the snails and shrimp in here just to see how they would be affected by this. Here I finally moved to the floor there, and you can just see the mulm starting to go up. But again, it's still insufficient. I mean, it wasn't enough. But that's part of the process. I mean, I don't want to always show you videos where everything works out perfectly and it's all wonderful, because it's definitely not that way. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you like this style of video, please like and or subscribe. And at the end here, what I'm going to do is I am going to put a water pump on this and try to get a little extra flow to see if I can get this to do what I was hoping it to do in the beginning, and that is remove some mulm from the bottom and not disturb anything else. So here we're going to plug it in now. You can't quite see it there. You can see the bottom of it, but you can see there's actually enough turbulence here now that it's sucking up the mulm, and it is kind of doing what it's supposed to do. But again, I wouldn't really call this a roaring success, but it has actually given me a couple of ideas, not just for how to improve this, but for other projects as well. And like I said, it was just a fun little thing I wanted to do. I hope you enjoyed it. I actually did enjoy making it. Like I said, I wanted to use that piece of Delrin for a long time, and it was just the perfect size for this. And actually, I think I can make adjustments to it for something else as well. So anyway, like I said, thank you very much for watching. and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.